I will call the, I believe it, August Park Board meeting. We have no citizens here or guests to go through. First thing then we'll have is our you want to do the roll call, Michael?
Yeah, I can do it. Karen Stankovitz.
Here.
Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Karen Nessett.
Here.
Pat Casanova.
Here.
Tori Boomsma.
Here.
Don Buchholz. And Pam Brokaw.
Okay. The first thing we have is our approval of the minutes from the last meeting. I wasn't here, so I don't know if they're correct, but has anybody noticed any changes or corrections or omissions that should be done to them? If not, is there...
Move to approve.
Moved and
Second.
seconded.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. No comments from citizens. New business, discussion and possible action and approval of the memorial application that's been submitted by the Hudson's Women's Club for Lakefront Park.
Yeah, so staff received an application from the Hudson Women's Club, and they are proposing to reinstall a plaque that once existed way back when in the 1970s. It is on a boulder which still exists in Lakefront Park, just south of the flagpole on the south side of the Toll Bridge Road there. And what the plaque originally said was Duluth passed here in 1680 en route from Lake Superior to Mississippi. This area was a Sioux Chippewa battleground in 1785 and a fur trade post in 1792 with the Menominee Indians. And so that was the plaque that was originally on the boulder. They're hoping to get approval from Park Board and Council to repurpose that plaque and put it back on. It would be a whole new plaque, but have the same message on it.
So I was reading this, and we had Talia come with the soldier organization with the flagpole. Is that going to be?
It won't interfere
It
with
won't
that.
interfere with
The
that,
boulder
okay.
is approximately, I would say, 40, or probably about 50 feet south of
Okay.
the flagpole. Yeah,
Okay.
so no, it would not interfere with that.
Good
That's a great question. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, I think that's good, because you walk by there now and you say, what does that plaque say? And you say, there is no plaque.
There is no plaque, yeah.
It'd be good to have that back, so I'll move to approve.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. That's all we had for new business on it. We old business to discuss the Bella Rose Park and the survey that was done.
Yeah. Yep, so this is a carryover from last month's meeting. Was able to calculate some of the late omissions into the survey results. We received, what was the issue sheet? 15 back out of 80. I sent out 80 surveys to area residents in the Bella Rose subdivision and residents off of Diamond Drive, which is just west of that Bella Rose subdivision. I did not send any surveys out to the apartment complexes. They weren't, that was difficult to find addresses, so on and so forth to do it. So I just did it to the single family home, so on and so forth. So with that being said, in your packet, it states what the 5 questions were. It's, do you live in the Bella Rose subdivision? How often do you expect to visit the park? If you have children, what are their ages? And then question 4 and 5 are kind of the meat of the survey. What amenities would you like to see in the park? And then based on that, the last question was, if a new playground is built, what would you like to see in a playground? And so obviously there's various responses. The property that is we're talking about is in the northwest corner of Sophia and Annabelle, across from the new Quick Trip, just to the west of there. It's a 0.73 acre parcel property that is basically given to the city as part of that development that we're able to use park dedication fees to upgrade and install amenities for local residents to utilize. So
What do we have for dollars for south of 94 to?
So that would be Park Trust A, so north of 94. We have approximately.
It should be north of 94,
Yep, we have
yep.
$124,000
Okay.
in that account now. And that's primarily due to the Bella Rose subdivision, because if you remember, we had kind of zeroed that account out when we built the Grandview Park Pavilion.
Yep.
In Grandview Park. And so all those monies that have been collected were primarily due to that development. So it'd be nice to use those monies for that, those residents. Yeah. So I guess what I'm looking for tonight is, just kind of general discussion from Park Board based on some of the responses that you see in question 4. Does everybody have that survey in front of them? No? I have an extra copy here.
Do you have that?
It's hard to
Yeah.
read
Oh,
on
yeah.
here,
Yeah,
so
I got
if
it.
you, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Easier to see.
Yeah.
Well, with the location of it, it's a busy area with the gas station.
Right. Right.
So some kind of attractive fencing is going to be really necessary in order to create a safe space. If we're going to create a magnet to draw kids to, or moms to bring the kids to, or any of that,
Right.
we'll really, I think, need to
Yeah.
look at doing that.
I'd highly recommend that if we move forward with any type of playground type unit, we would want to, at the very least, enclose that area in so that, kids, if parents are being distracted, if they have multiple kids and, like Pat said, with the gas station, commercial businesses and people going to and from their residence, we don't want, similar to what we have in Burton Park, right? We have that little playground on the corner of, a 10th that's fenced off so that kids aren't running out in the street because it is so close there, so.
Yeah, for sure.
What ballpark would no pun intended, ballpark,
Yeah.
what a cost of a, like 2 tennis courts or a pickleball tennis court? I mean, that's in the 200,000s, or is that?
No,
Is there enough space for that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do, you kind of have to pick, is
One
this
or
for
the
young
other.
kids? Is this for a nature park, or is this for a sport? I mean, you're right, I don't think we can pack.
Yeah.
Right. I was kind of doing some rough estimating on as far as size is concerned. So like, if you took the same size playground that we have in Burton Park, okay, which is that smaller circular park, and put that into the Belrose subdivision, a park, along with a couple of shelters and a couple of benches, you're pretty much, you're full, right?
Okay.
So it's gonna be up to the park board to kind of decide what type, is it gonna be more of a neighborhood pocket park where kids can come, or is it gonna be more of, athletic park where there's basketball courts and a couple benches? So that's gonna be kind of your role in deciding kind of what direction we go, because based on the responses, as you'll see, it was split pretty even as far
Yeah.
as, which is,
I mean, to me, it seems to me that it would be more of a child's park.
Yeah.
So the idea of doing a playground equipment and maybe benches with a shelter so that there's some shade there, but I just don't think we can fit in all these. I don't see it as a walking park. It doesn't seem like it's
No.
big enough to
Yeah.
create.
no.
I mean, this isn't gonna, unless you want to do laps or something.
That's my kind of park, yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
hear you.
At least that's the way I'm sort of taking.
Would there be room for something like like a playground and maybe like a half basketball court or something?
That could possibly be something that. we
Because there
could
are
look at.
older kids in that neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So that might be a nice combination of a flat surface for
Yeah.
basketball or whatever, and then the playground.
Yeah, a half-court basketball would be able to be squeezed in there. Yep.
And do you, not all of our parks have restroom facilities. Do you see this as one that, like, could we do this in stages and do, some benches in a pavilion and then come back later? I mean, because we're not working with a lot of money.
Right.
I guess the gas station's right there.
Yeah.
And we've
Well,
got
and their
the,
homes are
and
right
we've got.
there.
And the homes are there, yeah.
Just kitty corner
True, yeah.
So,
for all,
I'm just wondering if anyone's gonna, like, that gas station gets busy, so it's the neighbors there, but there's also a lot of Hudson people that stop and, I guess it's not on the freeway, but do we see people going from the gas station to, let's go sit at that picnic table or whatever, are they gonna creep over to that? Go walk the dog, if they're on a car trip, although again, that's not a interstate type thing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, other than just the people that live right there.
I think we used to live in Heritage Greens, and we had that neighborhood park. There was no bathroom there because it was surrounded by the homeowners.
True.
You've got your access, hopefully you can run home quick enough.
Yeah,
But you've got,
that's a good point, yeah.
yeah, I would say like 75 to 80% of the users are gonna be people that live nearby. You might have a couple people that park over in Quick Trip, and want to stretch their legs and bring their kids over there type of thing. But that's a local store,
Right.
You're not
Yeah.
really having a lot
Yeah,
of
you're
through
right.
traffic through there.
Yeah.
And even if that were the case, they would just bop back over to Quick Trip
Yeah.
once it opens.
Yeah.
So the cost of the restroom facility, I'd rather see us put money into the amenities that are gonna be used than
Agree, yep.
a $150,000 restroom.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Right.
I hear what you're saying as far as putting it in stages, though.
Can we put something together with cost estimates on equipment for
Yeah.
for components, what we think it would be for benches,
Yep.
and then kind of give us a menu of, okay, what can we select from
Yeah.
to do and how can we phase it?
Yeah, I can put together kind of a preliminary design based on kind of what I was thinking, and then bring that forward to park board at a future meeting with kind of a à la carte.
Yeah.
Obviously, playgrounds, you know as well as I do, you can go anywhere from 20,000 up to 500,000. Obviously we don't have money to do that, but I can put together, based on our available funds, something that would work to use and put in there. And I think, like, looking at the park itself, try to put the playground as far away from the road as possible. I think that
On the
makes-
inside corner?
Yeah, on the far northwest corner. I think that makes sense to me
Yep.
anyways. Just to kind of keep the kids away from the streets as far as possible. And then basically go from there, how we squeeze in a couple of smaller pavilions, some bench seating, possibly looking at a half-court or a basketball court as well, and maybe a couple of sidewalks to kind of connect them all, and some trees, and away we go.
Fence and see what we got?
Yeah, so I can certainly do that if that seems feasible to you. The other items that were in the survey were, a picnic shelter, picnic tables. The highest rated ones, their amenities were just for the public to see. Benches had 10 responses, playground, athletic court also had 10 responses. Outdoor fitness was low, green space was a 9, sidewalks 4, and security lighting 7. And then if you go to question 5, if a new playground is built, what would you like to see? Obviously, 6 people said an enclosure. People want to see a more traditional playground style over natural play areas. And with the traditional play equipment, we can include some adaptive equipment in with that as well, which would, accommodate the 6 respondents that said adaptive equipment. And then the last 2, equipment in one place, are equipment in pods. And basically, equipment in pods is like, you have a swing set over here, you have a playground structure over here, you have a climber over here, and
And
kind
you
of
have a mom going crazy everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You have 3 kids, and all, so they all want it in one place, which makes sense to me. As a father of 4, I can understand their plight. So yeah, that kind of just gives you a general, feel of what the residents wanted to see in their park. And like Pat said, I can put something together and bring it forward for a future meeting, and we'll go from there. What I'd like to do is get kind of a design nailed down over the next 2-3 months, and then use this winter to work on biddings, so on and so forth, so that maybe we can start some construction
Nice.
next summer.
But
Do
I
we
think
have a
we're
lot
clear
of,
on go
do
ahead.
we have a lot of athletic courts around? We don't have a lot of,
No.
right? I mean, in that the park isn't that far with the really nice playground equipment, isn't that far from that area either, right? Like maybe it's a good opportunity to have something a little bit different. I don't know.
Grandview isn't that far away. They have-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But Grandview doesn't have any, where's the nearest
Basketball
basketball court?
Anderson Park is the only
Mhm,
park
yeah,
that
basketball courts.
Yeah.
basketball courts.
Yeah.
And it's
But I don't
more-
think parents are gonna send their kids across Vine, or across Carmichael.
No.
No,
And this is just gonna be
Well-
a small park. that
Right.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing you could do is, if we don't want to try to squeeze in a basketball court there, we could look at Grandview Park as well to put a basketball court there as more of your active recreation type parks, athletic complex.
Yeah.
That might
That's
make
true,
sense.
yeah.
They draw bigger kids there,
yeah, that
That's
would
true,
them to go
yeah.
there than,
And have a little,
nice to
And
see
a little
something.
kids park in a little kids park at Bella Rose and
Yeah.
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 And the noise, if kids are playing basketball at 10, you might,
You're not
at
like
Bella
that.
Rose, it might get a little loud, but Grandview, a little bit further away from other residents. It's been a while since I brought my kids up there, but Mike, you probably know, at Grandview, is that like a retaining wall? Isn't the play structure almost sunken?
It's
Sort of like a retaining wall that boxes it out?
more of an elevated playground. There's a wooden fence that
Yeah.
encapsulates the entire structure.
That's okay.
Yep, and then before my time, they moved another playground structure up there as well, just to the east of the Castle Park Playground. And speaking of which, our playground inspector went out there today, and that's on staff, and looked at the structure up at Grandview Park, the Castle Park Playground. He said, you may want to consider moving this up sooner rather than later as far as replacement is
Oh.
concerned.
Oh,
Because
really?
it's like 20 years old now, isn't it?
I tried looking through my files. I couldn't find
close.
anything.
It's 18 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it really?
I remember
2000s.
bringing our grandchildren there a long
Yeah.
time ago.
I remember I brought my oldest
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's an all wood structure.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna replace some boards and stuff like that to limp it by, but it's one of the things that we should probably put on our radar to either do a full-scale, like, replacement, reconstruction of it, or just replace it altogether. And those are conversations that we'll have to have, because I don't want to offend anybody that put in all the blood, sweat, and tears to make
Yeah.
that, because that was a huge
a big
undertaking by
project.
the
Should we
community.
see if they're still around? All of them get back together.
They are. They're here.
I would love to get some names and numbers if you have
Oh, I do.
some.
Yeah, I know 'em.
Email
I remember
me
that
so
being in
can
the
reach out
paper,
to
yeah.
'em.
Yeah.
Back to the fence thing, I liked how it's kind of, you can let your kids kind of run because you can hide in those things and whatever, but there's sort of only one way in and out.
Yeah.
right? And so if we put some benches or the picnic tables or even a covered, picnic area or
Gazebo
whatever,
area, yeah.
where you can kind of drop the kids off, let them go be kids, unless they climb the fence or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, I just like that design, especially for that tight
Yeah.
area, and then having the issue of trucks
traffic.
coming in there, or, yeah, so.
Right, okay, sounds good. Well, I'll put something together for park board to review in the future, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
That sounds okay. Anything else you want to add on that before?
I can't think of anything.
I've got nothing.
We're pretty clear, I think, on the diversity of use and the age groups.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Project updates.
All right, moving right along here. So the first one I have on the agenda is just the mooring stairs. So we hired Kroll and Associates to put together our plans and specs, and he has since done so, and it's looking more along the lines of like a sandstone stair, because they're cheaper. So he has kind of a preliminary design. He has reached out to the Army Corps of Engineers and the DNR to see if we need any permitting to do the work. So once we hear back from them, if it's no, you don't need a permit, then we'll go ahead and go out to bid for the project. If we do have to get a permit, obviously we'll have to work through that with the Army Corps of Engineers and the DNR before we proceed. But it's still in the works, and we're trying to hammer it out. So probably not looking likely that we would do it this fall. I think it's too quick of a turnaround. So it'd probably be a next summer type project, but just know that we're still working on it.
After the high water goes down.
Exactly. So that's what I have on that one. Any questions on that? No? Second one I have is the Lakefront Park boat launch. So what I found during kind of our lower water pool, that we're having kind of those same issues with basically power loading and washing out the backside of our new launch.
Powering onto their,
Oh.
Correct.
onto their
Yep,
trailers.
correct. And so I have reached out to a concrete company, and I am having some extensions made. And we're gonna be placing 8-foot extensions at the end of each one of those ramps to alleviate that problem, because I know in the years past, we've always hired local contractors to come in and basically pull all the material back. I don't wanna have to do that twice a year, every year for the rest of my
Yeah.
time here. And so I want a more permanent solution, so we came up with this, and we'll put those on the end and hopefully alleviate that problem for years and years and years to come.
Be great.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of use, I'm getting a lot of positive comments about the launch this season. The pay stations have been working great. When we're all said and done here this year, I'll bring forward a report as far as revenues collected. It's quite,
Is it good?
it's very good, yep. And so, yeah, it's been a great addition to the community, I feel,
Yeah.
so.
I haven't heard any negative comments from people about it. The fears that it was taking over all the green space, and
Yeah.
that's been put aside. I haven't heard that from people, that it's,
It took a 3-4 week period for people to kind of get the flows down, where you can and can't park. You still run into those issues once in a while where they're full on a week. During peak season, I think we're past peak season now, but during the July, late June, July season, on a weekend, people are frustrated that they go launch and there's no place to park and that type of thing. But there's ways around that as well. But yeah, overall, it's been a great addition.
And I've heard only good things from people that use it. I did hear probably two different people, maybe you saw the same email, but just to vocalize it. There was a lot of people coming in, launching their boat. There were no spaces available, so they kind of made their own space, and got a ticket for that. And some feedback I heard was, well, we proved that we can make more spaces, so why don't we put some more stripes in? If you could speak to that, I assume that thing's been laid out by a parking specialist and you know, all the backing of trailers, et cetera, but if you could just.
Yeah, so we did receive some correspondence from a user, because people were parking along the outside curb, so on and so forth, and the plans, that boat ramp and the parking lot was designed for, you know, specific trailer and truck combo lengths, so on and so forth, and so we need as much space for people to maneuver around. I would say we would be able to add extra spaces if everyone was an expert in backing up a trailer, right?
Yeah.
But we know that's not true, and we don't want to run into problems where trucks and things are getting hit down there on a weekend basis. We just don't want that. We want as much space for people to maneuver and go about. And, you know, if you get a larger boat in there, like a 25, 26 footer, it gets narrow.
Pretty tight.
Yeah, it does get tight. And so the ramp and the launch are based on turning movements of those combos. And like you said, there were traffic experts that laid that out smarter than I am. And that's why there's not more striping crammed in there.
And I also think, you know, emergency vehicles, both, you know, the boats, the fireboat, et cetera, coming, but, you know, we had the issue over the 4th of July, if a huge fire truck had to get in there or whatever, and we were all parking wherever we can, that's not gonna work, so, yeah, I appreciate that. But no, it's busy.
It's
It's
busy.
doing what it should, so.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for tonight.
Anybody have any items for future agendas?
No, I just had one from last meeting, actually, about the mounds.
Yes.
So I found some Indian mound care, like a really brief website on it, but I sent it to Mike. So you said,
Very helpful.
was it? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's two different options, basically mowing maintenance, or every spring there's communities that have these in their community that burn them and basically encourage new growth and the pollinator plants to take over and the weeds to go away. So I guess I would like to go the burning route just because I've had a lot of success doing it that way. And so probably next spring when it's burn season, I would look to do those at that time. And then maybe sprinkle some natural grass seed or pollinator seed back in there to help establish some new growth in there. So, but yeah, it was very, very helpful.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
for finding that, Tori. Yep.
Anybody have anything else?
I'll move to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks. Enjoy the
Yeah.
night.